What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another live stream. We have a tech talk. I don't know how many of these I'm going to do like per month, but I may do one like once a month where I interact with y'all. This will be probably unlisted after the fact. I don't know yet. I'll leave it up for about 24 hours and then we'll negotiate with that. I know Mondays will be unlisted. Monday stream that free tech talk that I did on Monday of this week, that will be officially unlisted after this stream ends. So I will give it an hour after I ended this stream. So y'all, if y'all missed it, you can go watch that stream and then stuff like that. I'll be pulling up live chat. Let me send this out to some people because some people wanted to get notified when I stream. Let's see. So give me a sec. We'll be reacting to the iPhone 14 unboxing and stuff like that. All right. Let's share this. I don't like the way YouTube updated this new sharing system. It's a little bit annoying, but it is what it is at this rate right now. Let me pull this up. Twitter, you seriously gonna give me something right now?
Public audience selected posting. What's happening? Text field. What's happening? Number. Camp K. Kilo. Camp.
Hold on. There we go. It worked. Let's post that to Twitter. Let me open Telegram. So I'm giving everyone a moment to tune on in. Stuff like that. So we get a moment. Let's see. There we go. So I hope everyone actually is having a very good day. Stuff like that. Alright. Let me also do the Discord. Open Discord. Give me a moment. Takes a little bit. No. Really, Discord? You want to use the wrong... So I'm testing... So I'm testing iOS 16 over here, 0.1 for follow-up tonight. And I've been juggling two iPhones throughout the whole entire day. So we'll be getting started reacting to a YouTube video in about a few minutes of the iPhone 14 Plus unboxing. Brandon Butch did an unboxing this afternoon. And I was like, okay, that'll be perfect. I haven't seen anyone else really do it, so I was like, you know what, let's have a little fun. And then of course we'll get into my thoughts about the Google Pixels because I didn't do it with the reaction stream and stuff like that. And you know, we'll be getting somewhere. If anyone does try to get a hold of me during this live stream, I will be having Do Not Disturb on because my phone gets blown up quite a lot right now. So, like I said, chat's kind of dead. We'll be getting started very shortly. I had to send it out to Discord, Twitter, you name it, the social media sites, because why not? What Well, before I begin, if you do use a lot of hotspot connectivity, I've been having this on the 13 Pro Max where my battery suddenly drains a lot. Like drains pretty rough even after the fact of wirelessly or not wirelessly while charging the iPhone. So like when I hardwire it through my Mac, it drains periodically. And like it's hard to explain. I can't fully demonstrate it cuz my whole charging routine's kind of messed up now and stuff like that, but it just like on standby messages glitches out and uses a lot of battery, and so do a lot of other apps. So I had to reinstall iOS
iPhone 14 Plus unboxing reaction.
16.0.2, so we'll hopefully get somewhere. Alright, so we're gonna get started with the Brandon Butch video here. I'm gonna full screen for y'all.
The iPhone 14 Plus is the forgotten iPhone this year since Apple released it a few weeks after the 14, 14 Pro, and 14 Pro Max. But this is a phone I've actually been pretty excited for, and I can see a lot of people going for this phone. So in this video, we're going to unbox it, we're going to compare it to some other iPhones, and also discuss why it has already surprised me.
So Brandon Butch is gonna get. He said it surprised him. I'll be intrigued to see where we go with this. And then the iPhone 14 Plus, me personally, I would not buy it. That's me personally. I would not buy this phone.
Unboxing experience is pretty straightforward. It's the same as every other iPhone 14. We have these peel tabs up top, and you can see here I did get the iPhone 14 Plus in the blue colorway and 128 gigabytes. So
you got in 128 gigabytes. You got that blue color. Which that blue color? I can't completely trash talk it. The iPhone 14 models, the 13s had this, 12s had this with the pull tabs. No longer that nice, lovely saran wrap.
So the iPhone 14 Plus comes in the same colors as the regular 14, so blue, purple, midnight, starlight, and product red, and it starts at $929 for the 128 gigabyte, $10.
Jeez, I thought it was $8.99. No, it's $30 higher.
$29 for 256 and $12.29 for 512 gigabytes.
At that rate, if you're going to get 512, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but you might as well go a Pro. Well, yes and no, because Pro, at that rate, you would be at like 256 gigabytes with a Pro model phone.
So knock off $30 if you activate it with their carrier right away. Those are the prices if you do not activate with the carrier.
Okay, so so those are the prices without a carrier. The extra $30 is annoying.
All right, so let's take the top off for the first time. And here is the blue iPhone 14 Plus. Really no surprise here. It's the exact same shade as the regular iPhone 14, which I showed you guys all of the colors of the 14 in a separate video. But here's what it looks like compared to the purple iPhone 14.
I mean, it's a pretty blue. It looks kind of like the Sierra blue of the 13s. Kind of.
And if you're curious, here's what it looks like compared to the Sierra Blue iPhone 13 Pro.
Yeah, it's a darker, it's a more saturated tone of baby blue. I like the Sierra blue better, personally. Yeah, I was wondering about that. I was wondering about the comparisons, and I prefer the Sierra blue over that blue color.
Pro Max, so you can see much less of a gray undertone, much more of a pure blue color.
Yeah. There's not that much of a gray tone. There's more of a blue tone for my visually impaired audience.
Say, and here's what it looks like compared to the Pacific Blue on the 12 Pro Max. So not
wow. Yeah.
Not near as dark as this dark kind of navy blue. But taking a look at what else is in the box here, pretty standard stuff. So we have our USB-C to lightning cable down here, and then we do have our little pamphlet right
Can't wait for it to be USB-C to USB-C, honestly.
Here that talks about that we no longer have a physical SIM card. So if you are in the US, you do have to use eSIM. So there's no physical slots on the 14 Plus.
Physical SIMs versus eSIMs. If you want to check that out, there's a video on my channel for it.
Plus, and then we do have our lone Apple sticker back here as well.
All right, so let's
set this off to the side and peel off the front of the iPhone 14 Plus. Always satisfying. Let's go ahead and boot it up. And if you're
All right, Alex Cruz chats in. iOS 16 is out to the public. If you're talking about iPadOS 16, yes. Especially since the A12X and A12Z got Stage Manager now. Yes.
If you're curious, here's what this color looks like compared to the deep purple iPhone 14 Pro Max. And man, just holding these two side by side, you can definitely tell a difference in the weight. So the 14 Plus is much lighter than the 14 Pro Max. I really did not expect it to be such a difference. So it's about a 40-gram difference. So 36 grams lighter the 14 Plus is, but I didn't expect to actually be able to feel it like when I first picked both phones up, but you can feel it. I mean, it's much lighter. It's not as light as
See, when I got my 13 Pro Max in January, I thought it was going to be way heavier than it is right now, as some people made it out to be. But it's honestly not as heavy as I thought it was going to be coming from the 11. Yes, the 11's lighter, but it's you'd have to have a 13 Pro Max and an iPhone 11 in hand to really get the GIF.
the iPhone 14, the regular 14, but it's pretty close. It's much harder to discern the difference in weight between these two when you're holding them in the hand. And the beautiful thing about this 14 Plus is that we do have that 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. Now, we do not get ProMotion, so you don't have the 120 hertz refresh rate, so you do.
I had it off for 2 weeks, and then I turned it on today, and man, what a difference. But is it gonna make or break my situation? No. So if I had to, I can kiss 120 hertz goodbye.
You still have that 60 hertz refresh rate, but it is the same size as the 14 Pro Max in terms of the overall screen size. And you can see these two, sitting right next to each other right here. Pretty hard to tell the difference aside from, of course, the notch up top. So we do still have the notch, whereas the Pro models, the 14 Pro and Pro Max, have the dynamic island. So we're just going to scan it from my other phone right here so we could do a quick and easy setup. I'm just basically going to mirror everything from this phone, the regular 14, on to the 14 Plus here. So
Nice. The dynamic island, the hurricane got in my way, so I couldn't make a video. But honestly, to sum it up, not overrated, but personally me, I don't have an interest in it.
I don't have to go through and change all the settings manually. That's always the best way to set up these phones, in my opinion. And then we get the prompt for Face ID. I am going to set this up because I do plan on actually using this phone as my main phone for a little while, just to test out the battery life and everything. So we're going to do our first scan right there. And I'm probably not going to wear a mask with it. We're just going to do not use with a mask. And we're going to transfer all of our data over right here. Let's go ahead and tap on continue. And here's our prompt for emergency SOS. So all iPhone 14s, including the 14 Plus here, does get the emergency SOS feature with crash detection. So you will have.
Okay, me and crash detection real quick. It's a nice feature. Do I need it? No. Do I care about it? Maybe. Depends on to the situation at hand. Depends on to who you are and what you are. To be honest, me personally don't need it, nor do I care. Me personally, but for the tech channel and technology, it's cool. It's just not for me.
The emergency SOS via satellite later this year as well. So this does have the satellite technology built in.
But yet will turn into a subscription in about 2 years. That's annoying.
And also, if you do get in a car crash, your emergency SOS will trigger and it will alert emergency services and your emergency contacts, which is a nice feature to have. And then right away, we do have a software update right here. So you can see it shows 16.0.2. It's probably because that's what I'm on the regular 14 Plus or the regular iPhone 14 here. So we're going
to. Oops. He mistaken the 14 as a 14 Plus. That's for betas, Nikita. I already responded to it. Thanks, Nikita. How are you doing, Nikita, by the way?
I'm going to have to download and install that update. So keep that in mind. If you're transferring from another device, you'll probably have to update the software on the 14 Plus here. So everything just transferred over to the iPhone 14 Plus flawlessly from my regular iPhone 14. Now keep in mind, with the 14 Plus, we do have the A15 Bionic, just like in the regular 14 and the iPhone.
From what I've seen, Geekbench-wise and all that, there's not that much of a difference between the A15 Bionic and the A16. Neither is there from the A15 to A14, really. they're all running perfect. If you have an iPhone 12 Pro Max, here I'll go into a buyer's guide briefly at the end of this video of how I evaluate my tech on if a purchase is worth it.
iPhone 13 series. So all the iPhone 13s also had the A15 Bionic chip that's inside of the 14 Plus. Of course, the Pro and Pro Max get the A16 chip, but A15 for the 14 Plus here. But we do have improved thermals inside. And of course, we do have a much bigger size here with a bigger battery. So you are going to see both performance and, of course, battery life improvements with this phone. And on the
Nice.
back here, you can see we do have a dual camera setup on the 14 Plus versus a triple camera setup on the 14 Pro Max. So we are missing the telephoto lens on the Plus here. And you can also see that the lenses don't stick out as far. So
Yeah, because they're not upgraded bigger lenses. The telephoto and LiDAR are nice to have because, you know, man, I can zoom in with my 13 Pro Max. It's awesome. I was watching something and I zoomed in and I could actually zoom in so close. I was about 500 to 600 feet away, and I saw workers on a roof working on building a house. It's actually really cool.
you will notice that if you set both of these down on a flat surface, you will notice that the 14 Pro Max will wobble a lot more than the Plus. So it's lighter and it wobbles less. That's nice. So we do have our 0.5x and our 1x. So we are missing that telephoto. So we cannot do like a 2x or 3x digitally, but you can go out to 0.5x for both photo and video, which is nice. We do also have the photonic engine for improved quality over the 13 series. That's basically just a new version of Smart HDR. Apple's just calling it the photonic engine. Now we do not.
Apple's wording. It's very amazing. It's a little bit warm in this studio, so that's why my fans are running a lot higher, if you're wondering about the fans in the background.
Have the 40 megapixel camera photos like we do on the Pro series, so that's unfortunate, but we do have things like action mode. So if you go into video right here, you will see up top that we have this right there, and that is action mode. So you can shoot videos in action mode now, and essentially what that is basically just like enhanced stabilization. So it's basically like you're running on a gimbal, or you're shooting video with a gimbal, and it really only comes in handy when you're running or walking. So my initial impressions of the 14 Plus are pretty positive. I mean, I don't really have anything negative to say about the iPhone 14 Plus. And
Neither do I, honestly. Like, if I had no choice, but if it's like something happened to my 13 Pro Max and I had to upgrade to the 14 Plus, I honestly don't have anything fully negative to say about it right now.
And I think this is going to be a pretty popular option later down the road. So it didn't have a lot of hype up front. You know, not too many people in the Apple Store were picking up the iPhone 14 Plus. There were not a ton of pre-orders or anything like that. But this is going to be a phone. If somebody walked into an Apple Store and told an employee, you know, hey, look, I'm looking to buy an iPhone. I want the big screen, but I don't want to pay over $1,000. Well, before, you know, you had to pay over $1,000 to get the Pro Max version. But now you can walk in there and you can get a big 6.7-inch display.
And that's where Apple gets you. Perfect. That is literally perfect. I can't complain. I like that scenario too.
For under $1,000. Of course, if you do get the 128 gigabyte model, but that is nice. I mean, a lot of people are going to be going after this, especially this holiday season. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, but overall, I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty surprised by how light this is, especially if we're going to get, you know, the best battery life ever in an iPhone. We're still sitting there at 74%. I know it hasn't been too long, but still, I'm already starting to see that this battery life is impressive. So I will be doing a battery test comparison between all three of these phones along with other previous iPhones as well. So definitely stay tuned for that. I cannot wait to see what that battery life is like. So
Yikes. Me neither. I cannot.
I'm going to be ditching my iPhone 14 Pro and using the iPhone 14 Plus for a while here as my main device. I'm going to test out that battery life. I'm going to test out using 60 hertz again. I'm going to test out that dual camera versus the tri-camera, the triple camera setup. I'm just going to test out everything and use it in real world scenarios and let you.
And this is where I'm going to plug it in. his link to this video is in the description down below if y'all want to see what it's like after the fact, you know, his reviews later on.
You guys know how it performs and if it's really that much better than, you know, like a regular 14, and if it's really that much worse than a 14 Pro or Pro Max. So stay tuned for that video. But that is just the unboxing and my overall first impressions of the iPhone 14 Plus. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would appreciate if you give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure to subscribe for a lot more iPhone 14 and 14 Plus coverage. Also, let me know in a comment down below if you picked one up, if you're planning to, and just your overall thoughts on this phone. I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say, because I feel like it gets a lot of negative press for really no reason at all. I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. But anyways, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.
So there we go. And if y'all want to hear how good these speakers are. So there's the review of his 14 Plus. I honestly can't trash talk it. It's a good device. I'm not gonna hate on it either, because, you know, if someone doesn't want to pay $1,000 and they want the biggest phone that they can get, then by all means, there you go. Now I want to get into some stuff, my raw thoughts about the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro real quick before we jump into just the talk, just the talk of the tech talk of the rest. So I broadcasted the Pixel event. I was not expecting the views that I got. I got 80. I was expecting it to do worse, considering I covered 90% Apple, 95% Apple. Honestly, I like where Google's going. I'm not going to trash talk it. Google's trying to build out their own Apple ecosystem equivalent to Apple. They're trying to build out just like Apple builds out their ecosystem. Now I will, however, bring up there is a channel that actually did do a thoughts on the Pixel, MKBHD, and I'm gonna react to that. I'll put it in the description if I can. So, or I'll just put it in the chat. Either or. Here, I'll just put it in the chat for now. There we go. And there you go. The link is in the chat. If you have any problems, I'll put it in the
Voiceover.
YouTube thing.
Out of iPhone 14 Plus. Out of Brave. HTTPS://Brave group. Brave group. In Brave group. iPhone 14. New search tab. Toolbar. Item palette. In toolbar. Back. Read. Bookmark. View site. YouTube.com/watch question.
All right. Here we go.
HTTPS://YouTube. Complimentary. YouTube video player. Voiceover off.
Pixel has always been a leader in smartphone innovation, and we take it as a compliment when others in the industry follow our lead, like the always-on display and at-a-glance introduced with Pixel 2. And there's Night Sight, which launched with Pixel 3, and astrophotography, and we introduced car crash detection 3 years ago.
Taking these jabs at Apple, I've noticed. Apple Mafia, as Flossie Carter likes to say, stand down. I will personally be like, okay, you wanna take credit for it. But as a company, don't brag, please. That just makes you look like you're it does not look good, in my view. Apple does it and it annoys me.
Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro's front camera uses our advanced machine learning models for face recognition to power face unlock.
Also, wait, hold up.
Uses our advanced machine learning models for face recognition to power face unlock.
iPhone 10, your iPhone is locked until you look at it and it recognizes you. We call this Face ID.
We're introducing cinematic blur to the Pixel camera.
See? Look, I had a feeling they were trying to competition the iPhone. Now you're
Face
seeing
ID.
it.
We're introducing cinematic blur to the Pixel camera.
And iPhone 13 brings a brand new feature, cinematic mode.
Starting at
Cinematic blur, cinematic mode. Same thing. Pixel's having the same thing that Apple's having, or Apple's copying. Oh, wow.
2x, Super Res Zoom crops Pixel 7 Pro's main 50 megapixel camera using a high resolution mode to provide a 12.5 megapixel
12
image.
megapixels of the new sensor to deliver a full resolution photo and 4K video with optical quality.
Yeah, I kind of just love.
All right. See, this is why I set off Apple Mafia stand out. See, now we're getting the war between Apple versus Pixel. Google, that is a war I don't think you want to play. All farewell.
And 4K video with optical quality.
Yeah, I kind of just love how tech companies just throw subtle shots at each other on stage, even though we all know at this point they're just copying each other in
Yep, I agree with MKBHD here.
a giant circle till we have the same features across everything. Anyway, today was Google's event, and we got our first look and impressions and our hands-on time with the Google Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro and the Pixel Watch, which is really interesting. And we also got a preview of a really interesting look at the new Pixel tablet.
Yeah, that Pixel tablet was really interesting. But if I had to choose between... Okay, I want to put this out here before I answer this. Audience, you had to choose between the iPhone 14 Plus that came out today and a Pixel 7 Pro. Which one would you choose?
So, this video is everything you need to know about all that stuff. So, the phones. There's a big phone and a small phone again, the Pixel 7 and the Pixel 7 Pro. They very much look like the Pixel 6 now that it's an established, recognizable visor identity, but this time the visor is metal instead of glass.
Good. Metal's better than glass.
And I don't love it, but I also don't hate it. Like,
me neither, personally. Don't love it, don't hate it. It's just interesting.
I guess I was one of the few people that really got to liking the glass visor, but I will say this time it is one continuous piece of metal all the way around with no seam, and that is better than before.
Good. I've had my hands on a Pixel 6, but good.
And it just feels really well built, but you can also see the Pixel 7 visor is matte, while the Pixel 7 Pro visor is glossy, which I can already tell I'm going to get this 7 Pro covered in fingerprints.
Fingerprint magnet. Sounds great. Love it, love it, love it. Hence why, if you look at my videos down the road, when I do more videos with the 13 Pro Max, I actually changed my case out from the clear case because I was getting fingerprints down at the bottom near the chargers and the speaker grill and the microphone grill. I changed it out for the silicone case. Apple's red silicone case, also known as my winter case, because I don't like that microfiber cloth getting water from like lakes and whatever. No, because I don't want to deal with cleaning that nonsense.
Also, I'm just going to say I miss accented color power buttons. Just throwing that out there. Anyway, no other real design surprises here, but then on the inside, there is an updated set of specs. So there they are. You can pause this if you need to, but...
All right, so there's the specs up on display. I don't know. I'm not going to read it either. But power buttons, accent-colored power buttons don't bother me. I don't really care about them. Personally. But yeah.
Basically, the bigger phone has a telephoto lens, more RAM, and a bigger battery and a bigger higher res LTPO display.
I'm not surprised.
That's the deal. But here's something I noticed that wasn't really mentioned even out loud during the keynote, which is the Pixel 7 display is flat again, and you can see the cutout at the top for the new ultra-wide 11-megapixel selfie camera that they both share. It's pretty sweet. But the Pixel 7 Pro display curves over the edges a bit less than before. It's just a subtle curve now. I'm really happy to see that. But then, as I mentioned in the last video, which was about the iPhone 14 Plus and benchmarks and how the big general benchmark improvements are probably going to be pretty slight, I was more interested just to see features, just new interesting features that they enable.
I personally don't care about the Geekbench scores of the Pixels, but I want to see how well that chip is, because the Pixel 6 had the equivalent scores of an iPhone XS Max from 2018. I'm like 3-year ago chip clock, multi-core performance speed, and the current flagship. Come on, Google, give us a little bit more of a challenge
on these new phones, right? And we got some, and they range from kind of cool, seen that already, all the way to possibly incredible. So yeah, I'm going to keep my eye out on the overall performance of this next generation Tensor G2 chip, efficiency, smoothness, all that. But it
Yeah, I'll be curious myself too.
also enables a few things. A new cinematic video mode, which basically appears to be doing the same thing Apple's new cinematic mode does, which is track subjects and artificially blur backgrounds. It also enables transcribed audio messages right in the Google Messages app. So if someone sends you a voice memo, you don't have to find a place to listen to it. You can just read it in text form. And it makes night sight twice as fast. It enables face unlock from just the new selfie camera. And it should be able to do all of this with 20% lower power consumption than the first Tensor chip. But the coolest feature...
That's actually pretty nice. I like... Okay, so when they announced that the audio messages can be transcribed to text form, that is nice. But as someone that has accessibility needs and uses a screen reader occasionally called VoiceOver, or over there would be TalkBack, then that would be... That there is... I don't know. Either in text form, or I'd rather personally hear the person's voice than hear my text-to-speech voice read out the transcript of that audio. But it's more that's more geared towards sighted people, and I can see a little bit, but it's like it depends on to what's in the message.
To me, easily is unblur is what it's called. So you have a picture that's slightly blurry. You know, maybe your hands were kind of shaky, or it was slightly out of focus, or you just had a slow shutter speed, or something happened. It's blurry, it's soft. Normally you throw the photo out, but you don't have any other pictures of that moment, and it was just too perfect, and you kind of just want to save it or fix it. So you can open that picture on the Pixel 7 or 7 Pro, and you hit that button, and the Tensor chip goes to work, and it basically fixes the picture. It uses AI, it recognizes subjects and sharpens things up, and it does a really good job. You can see a before and after here of...
Yeah, when I was watching that event, I didn't comment on it in the live stream, but that was actually pretty cool. But you can also do that if you wanted to. It's very hard to do, but you could do that, you know, like if you physically wanted to edit the photo. But yeah, I'd rather let AI handle it in my case.
Some of the preloaded photos I was trying at the event, and they are genuinely impressive. And the cherry on top is, so you have to have a Pixel 7 or 7 Pro to do this for now, but you can do this with any picture in your entire Google Photos library. Any photo you've ever taken, or even any photo you just save or have on your phone, anything. I can see people like remastering old Polaroids or like 30-year-old yearbook photos, just whatever else is in your library that you want to save.
That's really cool. 30-year-old photos, you can fix them? Nice.
Seems pretty cool. I'm going to be testing it for the full review to see how well it actually works with non-pre-supplied photos, but I was impressed. But then really most of the other changes that were interesting about these phones came in the camera department on the Pro phone. So there's a new ultra wide with autofocus just on the Pro phone that is 21% wider and should be able to take some pretty decent macro photos now with these focus pixels. And there's a new 5x telephoto camera that's also huge, 48 megapixels again. And then they've worked a lot of software magic with making the in-between marks much more usable. So for example, the 2x button here will crop into the middle 12 megapixels of the main camera for a nice clean zoom. Sound familiar? But then the 10x does the same thing. So the 10x zoom is really just cropping into the middle 12 megapixels of the 5x telephoto camera. So again, hopefully a nice clean zoom. And then a lot of...
You can only hope. You can only hope for it.
A super res zoom, software magic, and hopefully sharpening the photos of in between those numbers. But there's also haptic stops in the camera UI to make it easy to hopefully hit those nice clean magic numbers. And they also added a zoom preview thing for the furthest extremes of zoom like Samsung did. So now when you're taking those super creeper shots at like 30x, it'll be nice and stable and easy to frame. My biggest question...
Huh. Nice.
Question is, did they price these correctly? Because they went with the same prices as...
The Pixel 7, I'd say they priced it correctly. Pixel 7 Pro, a little pricey, but I don't know. Me personally, I guess.
As last year, which is $599 for the small phone and $899 for the big one. Which, okay, it's the same. I have a feeling $300 is going to feel like a big gap again. Like this is what we were saying last year. For $300 extra over the small phone, you're getting bigger screen, nicer battery, and a telephoto camera. and that's kind of it. This year, it feels like a tiny bit more. It's screen, battery, and then like a whole pro camera system with a better ultra-wide and a better telephoto with lots of zoom stuff.
Yeah, this year it looks a little bit better for that $300 price difference. It looks a little bit better for that ballpark.
But is that enough? $300? I don't know. We'll see. I have a feeling that the 7 will feel like a good deal, and then the 7 Pro will feel like a tougher sell again. But then we also finally got to see.
Yeah, that's kind of like the iPhone 14 and 14 Plus. Is the iPhone 14 Plus actually going to sell good? Same as the iPhone 14. No, the Pro and Pro Max will, because the dynamic island a lot.
The Google Pixel Watch. This is the thing that's been kind of hyped a lot. I got to spend a little less time with it, but I'm very interested in reviewing this particular watch. So this might be a hot take, but I think they did a B+ job on the design. I think it's really nice. The full circle is great. It's just one size, which is pretty small and very lightweight. There's 3 colors, black, silver, and gold, and definitely doesn't look like a computer on your wrist like some others can. It can be a super inconspicuous little puck of a smartwatch. There's just 2 buttons, the crown, which can also scroll, and then a button right above it. And the way the watch bands connect to the watch is pretty neat.
But you can't do like third-party watch bands. They're first party. There's something. I haven't fully looked into it, but I heard that, yeah, the watch bands on the Pixel Watch are not like the Apple Watch at all.
It's a little bit finicky to me at first, but I suspect that just takes some getting used to. And the result is just this super seamless look with no lugs, where it looks like the band just kind of pops out the top and the bottom of the circle. Now, here's why I say B+ and not A+. Bezels and battery. So they curved the glass right over all the edges and kept the UI mostly black, which is really thoughtful because most of the time, especially in lower lighting, it looks like it's basically a seamless display on your wrist. Most of the backgrounds are black. Most of the UI elements look like they're designed around sort of fading in and not overlapping the edges too much. And even when they do overlap, they have this nice little gradient. Even the flashlight app has a fade all the way around, so you don't really think too hard about the bezel.
That's nice, at least. It's got a fade for the flashlight, and they make it not look like there's bezels, like, so you don't think really like, ooh, look at them bezels. Jesus, they're jaw dropping.
It's smart. But if you catch the light just right, or maybe you're outside a lot, then yeah, you can see the bezel, which is clearly not the smallest thing in the world. Okay, fine. But I'm actually a little bit more worried about battery life. So they said on stage up to 24 hours of battery, which, knowing these companies is probably generous. Like, that's probably maybe best case scenario without the always on display, maybe one workout. And I mean, this watch is truly tiny. It's very compact and light. Like, there's just no way it can have a huge battery in it. But I think it's a good idea to subscribe to be among the first to see the full review when it goes live, and I get a chance to really test it. Functionality-wise, though,
his link to the video here is in the live chat. If you're watching this live, it will be in the description.
It is very much a Fitbit smartwatch. Like, I think it might be more of a Fitbit than a lot of people were expecting. But
yeah, that's what my vibe was. Fitbit more than a smartwatch.
Smartwatch-wise, it does all the normal stuff. Notifications, custom watch faces, Google Pay with Wallet, Google Maps directions, Google Assistant to set timers, play some music, etc. It's Wear OS. But then it's Fitbit for all the fitness stuff, which there's plenty of. So if you've used a Fitbit, you already know about the workouts and mindfulness content and health metrics and sleep tracking and a sleep score. And it has some really high-frequency heart rate monitoring, one reading every single second. But other than specifically the heart rate monitoring stuff, it uses the Fitbit app for all of that stuff. So not Google Fit. What happens to Google Fit? Unclear, actually. But the watch...
Possibly something dying yet again from Google? I don't know. We'll have to see.
Watch comes with 6 months of Fitbit Premium for free, and that you just interact with all this data just like it's a Fitbit. So,
see, that annoys me. Like, when the Apple Watch had fall detection with the Series 4 and all that, it didn't come in a future update. It came right out the door. Just like the Pixel 7. The band selection, band 70, will come I believe it's band N70 for 5G, will be available in a feature drop later. Well, if the phone supports it, why don't you just let it come out right away? From what I heard.
So, yeah, it's a Fitbit smartwatch, or it's a smartwatch with Fitbit on top for all the fitness stuff. So it's $349 for the Wi-Fi only and $400 for cellular. So that means it's more expensive than the Apple Watch SE. It's more expensive than the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5. It's interesting. Let me know which one of those smartwatches you would consider for that money.
In the Apple ecosystem, Apple Watch, of course. Because I have accessibility needs, Apple Watch. But if I didn't, if we excuse my ecosystem and the accessibility needs, then I'd go with, I hate to do this, Samsung.
Money. But lastly, we did get a preview of the tablet, another one. But this time, it was basically just one really cool feature, which is that it docks to a magnetic speaker dock and becomes basically a Nest Hub Max. And I think this is brilliant. Most tablets are just like around the house most of the time, and Google knows this, so they just built the ultimate house tablet, I guess. I do think, though, that this is a bit of a clue that this isn't going to be a super high-end, like iPad Pro, Galaxy Tab Pro, super crazy premium like tablet.
No, and that's to be expected. It's not going to be.
This is definitely not competing with those. Like, this thing will have a 10-inch screen, single camera, white bezels. It's like, this thing is designed for the 80% of tablets that just sit around the house and don't do too much. Like, not the top few percent that are doing peak performance and productivity and media stuff. I'm guessing, and this is pure speculation, and you can quote this, I'm gonna guess that this will be a $499 tablet. Like, that's how I see this. And then you'll buy the dock extra, but we'll come back to this clip and see if I was right. But yeah, stay tuned for the reviews. Happy Techtober. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Oh yeah, it is Techtober. So yeah, there's the Pixel. No, do not replay. So there's your Pixel. I added MKBHD's video. I wasn't going to, but honestly, Pixel 7 and 7 Pro, can't trash talk it. Can't love it, can't hate it. Honestly. It's nice that if you do have a Pixel 6 or have had the Pixel 5 or whatever and you're upgrading, you get to have the equivalent in that level of an iPhone. And then, you know, it's just one of them things where I don't have a, you know, I'm not going to be an Apple fanboy and trash talk the Pixel, but at the same time, I'm not going to trash talk the iPhone. Well, I was going to sit around and have a long talk discussion with y'all and talk about, you know, whatever, free talk, but I think I'm going to actually end this broadcast here because I got some things to do before the sun goes down, and the sun will set in about an hour. So I do appreciate everyone for watching this video. Like I said, my Monday live stream that I did at Monday of this week will be going unlisted to the playlist. And then the live stream reaction from yesterday will stay up. And then this one will stay up. And then iOS 16.1 thoughts / reaction follow-up like I normally used to do. The last 2 weeks I haven't done any thanks to the hurricane. We will be back in action with that. I don't know if I'm going to go back to weekly or whenever I get a chance because it's just been busy here. So anyways, I'm going to get to filming that video and then edit, then upload that tonight, and then be ready to go because I'll be busy tomorrow. So anyways, peace everyone.
Voiceover on fine.
It was nice reacting to all this stuff. And let me know what y'all think about these live streams.
Menu extras. Friday, October, OBS, Coconut, OBS.